Welcome to our Animation Resources live stream. This one is another RefPack review. I'm Davey Jarrell, I'm a storyboard artist in TV animation, and I serve as the Director of Programming at Animation Resources. And I've got a guest with me today. He's the Director of Publications at Animation Resources and runs the tech for our live streams, David Eisman.
Hi.
Hi, David. Good to have you here as always.
Good to be here, Davey.
So, today we're going to go over our current members-only reference pack, but first I'm going to quickly tell you about what Animation Resources is. So, Animation Resources is a 501c3 nonprofit that specializes in art curation. We preserve art from the past so it can be used to inform art of the future. And we provide context for everything we share. The history behind it, information about the artists who created it, and how the ideas can be applied to your own work. If you're not already, I highly encourage you to become a member of Animation Resources. Paying members get access to a new reference pack every other month. Reference packs include rare animated films and ebooks, filled with cartooning and illustration, all work that you'd probably never otherwise see. You can sign up right now at animationresources.org/membership. One more time, that's animationresources.org/membership. So, we've got a couple announcements. We have officially begun our student membership drive. While the general membership is $95 per year, students, you can sign up to be a member for only $70 per year. We're also re-releasing a video I made with Pez where we give practical advice to animation students. So look out for that on our YouTube channel, the Animation Resources YouTube channel. Also, in honor of Student Membership Drive, you can go to the website animationresources.org and download 2 ebooks and 2 videos for free. This sample reference pack contains the best of the first 50 reference packs. You have from now until November 1st to download all of this incredible material for free. Also, you have from now until early December to download our current members-only reference pack. This one is reference pack number 60, and it's definitely our biggest one to date. And I'm sure after seeing what you can download for free, you'll want to sign up for a membership and get the rest. So let's take a look through our current reference pack. So we're going to be looking at images and clips from the reference pack, and like last time, I'm going to share my screen so you can watch me go through the website and look through the reference pack. And I'll also summarize the contents of the articles so you can have context for everything that we're looking at. So I've already downloaded RefPack060. I got it here on my desktop. So the first thing we'll look at is Shin Bijutsakai Volume 1.
Bijutsakai.
Well, you're a lot better at that than I am. So, this was considered the greatest Japanese design magazine of the early 1900s. The title translates to A New Ocean of Art. So the artists merged Japanese design with Art Nouveau. And at first glance, these pages look like pretty abstract designs, but if you look closely, you can see the way the plant life and the animals are actually stylized. So you can see and the color palettes, they incorporate light and shade, and the textures and gradients are rendered by means of complex printmaking techniques. It's like all of these images were created by hand using traditional Japanese woodblock carving and printing methods. It's pretty incredible.
Beautiful.
I actually love the kind of simplicity of it.
Yeah, the simplicity, but also very complicated in the detail. Well, not here. The detail is very simple here.
Yeah. But yeah.
Here you got some more detail.
I really like the
beautiful
textures,
nature. Yes,
colors.
The textures are very efficient. Very good. Very good. Just another great example of Japanese woodblock prints. Don't go through all of them. You gotta save them for the readers.
I want to give you an idea of just,
how
you got an
many
entire
there
book
are.
of these.
Steve worked really hard on this one.
Great stuff.
Amazing. If nothing else, gotta download the pack for this.
Every time the ebook is usually the highlight. It's worth the price of admission for a membership alone.
All right, next
Cool.
let's
move on. Next,
first piece of animation.
the video section. Lottie Reiniger's Harlequin from 1931. Harlequin.
A silhouette. film.
Yeah, Lottie Reiniger, the queen of silhouettes. She's one of the most important figures in the history of animation. She made the oldest surviving animated feature, The Adventures of Prince Ahmed. She also pioneered the merging of animation and music, and developed a multiplane camera stand over a decade before anyone in Hollywood built one. So I know in mainstream media, Disney gets credit for the multiplane camera and also for pioneering animated features and all that, but she was doing it way before Disney.
The silhouette, because they're silhouettes.
Silhouette.
Well, it also means you have to have very good. It's a very good character design. You have to have spaced out lines. Like, look at those trees. Everything's spaced out.
Mm-hmm. This has to be so clearly staged for it to
You can't... And that was very clear, even though they just overlapped. Which is difficult even when you have access to full color and line. Oh!
Wow.
They got some momentum in there. Some slow in, slow out. Very nice articulation on the legs in that donkey. It's just brilliant. It's like...
Animation during this time did not utilize these principles.
No, she was just doing it.
Timing would be very even in most of the stuff in this time.
Excellent.
Well, we've got a bunch of these to look at.
We got many to go through.
So, we also have in this reference pack Lottie's The Chimney Sweep from 1935.
Good old text scroll to let you know what's going on.
Yep. So both of these films are a fantastic example of the way she merged motion and music.
Yes.
So you notice that the staging is flat, but the puppets never feel flat or stiff, and their movements never feel limited either.
Look how she uses bigger and smaller puppets to forge perspective.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm guessing they're on different planes.
A great sense of perspective, despite it being very flat staging.
But if she had a multi-plane, that probably means that those characters are on separate planes farther apart.
Yeah,
so they may not actually be different sizes. Without a multi-plane, you'd have to force it by doing bigger and smaller characters.
So even with this animation technique, the characters are running and dancing, jumping, and act as well as animated characters in any medium. If not better than most of contemporaries. Now both of these are 20-something minutes long. You get... So this reference pack is huge.
Definitely check out Lottie Reiniger's good work besides The Adventures of Prince Ahmed, which everyone has seen.
Yeah. All these characters have such distinct personalities too, just from their shapes.
In the movement.
You can tell what they're wearing. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's quite incredible. Where she decided to put detail and where she decided to take away. That was an excellent push.
Yeah. Good sense of movement and weight.
The way her arms fell down after he backed
really
away.
Really great hands, too, I'm noticing.
Really articulated hands.
Alright, let's keep going.
Yes, okay.
Then we also have 2 documentaries on Reiniger. So these documentaries show her at work in her studio and give us a peek at her camera stand and the tools she used to manipulate the puppets. And also somewhere in here we get a look at her exposure sheets too. So look at that.
Amazing.
It's crazy that something made this long ago. You look at it and you're like, how did they make this?
I know. So ahead of its time.
That's really cool. So let's see if we can... Oh, so there's her design process.
Nice.
So she's just a really, really great designer. On top of everything else.
Alright. Scroll through a little bit, see if you can find the X sheets, and then we'll go to the next one.
Might have been in the other one.
Possibly. It's possible it's with the other one. It's alright.
Yeah, let's look at the other one. Yeah, we get 2 documentaries.
Oh.
What's this?
Storyboards. Always great to see how different people storyboard. And not even just like how they lay out their boards, but just like the way they do them. And like she just subdivided a paper into 4 planes.
Yeah.
Whereas other people would draw little boxes.
Yeah. That's always fun to see that. So this is, so we get to take a look at her camera here.
Amazing. So movement by movement. Okay.
There we go. The X sheets.
Oh, wait. Go back, go back. Oh, amazing. Musical notation. Just nice. Oh, I wish I could have these. It took me so long to figure out. It would take me a very long time to decode these, but that's interesting. The numbers must be number of frames. So base note 8. So these are probably 8th notes. No, it would take too long to figure out.
There's her camera. Yeah. Great stuff. I need to go through that more meticulously later.
Okay, next. Another good Russian animation.
Yeah, The Brave Little Deer, Russian film from 1957. So,
oh, wow.
It's the story of a fawn and her child as they lag behind the herd and find themselves in danger. I mean, look, this animation.
That was one of the greatest things I've ever seen. What the hell?
That water is...
excellent water. Look at that ice. Wow.
It's as good as Pinocchio. Some parts of the animation in this are even more sophisticated than Bambi.
For sure. Different approach to character design,
everything
though.
is just so clearly posed, and it's not dependent on any live-action reference like Bambi.
Yeah. You can definitely see that it's not referenced.
Yeah.
But also the character designs are a lot more cartoony.
Yeah. This is just great character animation. So much personality.
Nice detail of leaving those footprints in the snow.
Yeah.
That must have been annoying to do.
Sometimes they do it, sometimes they don't.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of here and there.
Just the timing on these.
The timing is absolutely extraordinary. Whoa. Look at him sinking that snow. Nice.
Right. Well.
Okay. Yes. Excellent work.
This is a whole 25-minute film.
Yep.
The animation, this whole thing is just incredible.
Check it out.
Oh. Cool. Next is The Owl and the Pussycat from 1952. This is produced at Hallis and Batchelor Studios in England. I love their stuff. So this is one of the earliest animated films intended to be screened in stereoscopic 3D. So the film was shot twice. Once for each eye.
Of course.
This is very meticulously planned and executed camera work. So the animation simplified because of the necessities of the 3D.
Of course.
But I mean, the design and color of this is beautiful.
I always like split plane shots for water.
I love that expression on the moon.
Good wave principle on the feathers and the VR. Simplified, but still following.
Great design.
Whoa, that was nice.
Those slow, precise movements in animation are the hardest to do.
They're incredibly difficult because it's so hard to not fall into slow and floaty, like it's underwater.
Yeah.
You need very precise slow in, slow out. And not just in the timing, but the spacing as well. That was excellent. Very good use of an anatomical morph.
Really nice design.
Whoa, straight into a distortion morph.
Look at that.
And to a totally different style. Excellent.
I like that animation.
Very nice strut.
Cool. Alright, next we got Regatta featuring Kozilik Matolik from 1968.
Love Polish animation.
Yeah.
Love this guy. He's a very funny dude.
So this is an episode from the series The Strange Adventures of Kozilik Matolik. It's produced in Poland from 1969 to 1970. So this is a goat who goes on a quest to find a town that makes shoes for goats. And his travels take him to the ends of the earth and throughout time, from the jungles of Africa to medieval Europe to the Wild West.
Great premise.
It's all good, simple, funny, and direct movement and expressions.
Classic. Complete opposite approach to animation than those Russian, let's do 37 frames for this one motion.
But this all moves very funny.
It does. It's hilarious.
Just the way that hand, his pose right there, his pose is funny.
It's almost harder to accomplish humor in the approach that the Russians are using because everything takes so much more time. So, in humor is all about snappiness and fast.
And just an exaggeration of life.
Exaggerating, yeah.
Life. Exactly. Yeah, this is sort of
this is great stuff.
Is what I strive for in everything I make. That was a good gag.
Ooh, and there you go. There's some nice slow animation, but to accentuate a gag. Mm-hmm. Great work.
Great stuff. Gonna take a quick break, and then we'll be right back. So there are so many reasons to join Animation Resources, especially if you're a student. And some of the biggest reasons are, first, the big lie. Not with like election and politics and stuff, but in the animation world, the big lie. Basically, the big lie is that once you graduate from school, you'll get a job in animation. So I'll break it down. The biggest misconception most animation students have is that school is preparing them for a job. And this just isn't true. You can go to the best animation school in the world and graduate with honors and still not be qualified for a job. It just isn't possible in a school situation to teach students everything it takes to be a functional professional after just 4 years. So unlike in grade school, in college, at least in a lot of majors, especially in art majors, grades are meaningless. And chances are your employer doesn't care if you even graduated from college. All the employer cares about is whether or not you can do the job in a timely manner with quality results. So then, what exactly is the point of school if it isn't training for a job? Networking is part of it. Yeah, it's a forum for learning. So a good animation school can do two things. Like you said, networking, it puts you in an environment where you're surrounded by students and teachers who know their subject and are trying to do the same things that you're trying to do. And that can be a very supportive environment to learn in. And second, school can provide you with resources that may be more difficult to get access to in the real world. So university libraries are labs filled with books and on important subjects, and colleges mostly host uninstructed life drawing sessions. There's always screenings, film festivals, lectures by top industry professionals, and all these extracurricular activities may not be accessible to you after you graduate. So it's really important to take advantage of them while you're still there. But there just isn't enough time in 4 years to go over everything that you're going to need to know to work. Instructors may encourage their classes to study and work on their own skills outside of class time, but a lot of students are kind of stuck in that grade school mentality where if it isn't being graded, then it doesn't count or it doesn't really matter. And the truth is, in animation particular, the work you do outside of class is more important than what you do in the class. So what can you do in school to be as prepared as possible to get a job in animation? And that's you need to learn to learn. So learn to set your own goals, determine a curriculum for yourself, work to improve your skills, push the envelope of your creativity, exposing yourself to as many different ways of thinking about art, and just learn to grow. So look at what college is offering you. Talk to professionals, ask them what you should be learning, and supplement your college work with self-study. Don't just do what you want to do what you need to do. It's very hard and very time-consuming to gather all the skills and frame of reference you need to be a professional, but it's a lot easier to devote the time while you're still in school. So if you wait till you graduate, self-study is going to have to compete with all that adult stuff like paying bills and all that. And
Davey, how long did it take you to get your first gig after graduation?
only about a month and a half.
You're a jerk.
But that's because I found animation resources at the start of my junior year, so I got a big head start.
You cheated.
Like you didn't find us until well after you graduated, right?
No, well, Animation Resources was Animation Archive at the time, but so I graduated, back in the Stone Age in 2003, and I don't know when Steve started the archive. It might be 2004. Just raise your hand, Steve. Right. I don't know, something like that. But yeah. I was in Ohio, and when I graduated from art school, people didn't even know how to get into the business at all. It was crazy. I had a fantastic foundation studies program, so I learned drawing and painting and the traditional art skills. But the animation program at my school was kind of a joke, and thankfully there was a couple of teachers there that were really good that taught me some stuff I needed to know. But when I came to California in 2006, I started volunteering with Steve Worth, and he started showing me stuff that was like, oh, I need to stop looking at the cartoons that I grew up watching. Because for me, I love old school cartoons, but that's what I grew up watching as a kid was the old stuff. Because I was I don't like the Shirt Tales. I don't like G.I. Joe. I liked Bugs Bunny, and I like, Mighty Mouse and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So Steve opened my mind to a lot of the art. I'd already taken illustration history, and I was familiar with some of that stuff, but I don't know, just thinking more like an artist and less like a fan was like a big leap for me in my early years of development.
And how badly do you wish you knew about this and knew that information while you were still a student?
That'd been cool. Probably wouldn't have taken 4 years after graduation to come out here if that would have been the case. Right. It's scary, when you're graduating from the Midwest and then you're trying to get into the business and you don't even know anybody. And
let's see, part of the reason it was different for me is because I went to school in Los Angeles, so I was already knew all you guys.
That's right.
Yeah. So
and now I've been in the business for I think 17 years.
17 years straight. It's pretty amazing.
Well, I had one period where I couldn't find work. It was during the writer's strike of 2008. That was the best learning experience I've had because I had geared myself to only do a specific type of cartoons because that's what I wanted to do. And then I was showing my portfolio to try to get whatever work I could find. I couldn't get work doing anything except for the stuff that they weren't making. And so I really had to work hard at showing that I could work on any kind of show.
Yeah.
A friend of mine, Janet Diamond, she's a producer in animation. She would say, well, if you can draw those shapes, how come you can't draw the other shapes? They're all shapes, right? She's right. They are.
So just got to build the muscle memory.
That's right.
Yeah. So this is exactly where Animation Resources comes in handy, where it kind of fills in these gaps. So everyone needs to, like you did when you were looking for work in periods where you were unemployed, you need to build your own curriculum and open your mind to creatively and build the skills that you need. So every student is different. Every school is different. There are so many online courses and books to study from, but even those aren't enough. And the world of creativity is wider than you could possibly imagine. And Animation Resources has gone to successful animation professionals like Ralph Bakshi, Will Finn, Sherm Cohen, and asked them what resources have been useful to them in their work. And every other month, Animation Resources publishes downloadable reference packs filled with this kind of material that these advisors recommend. This reference pack will help you with your self-study program and open your mind to the possibilities that you didn't know existed. So that's the first thing. That's the big lie. So the truth is that your degree is only half of your education.
It doesn't mean anything.
It's something.
Nah.
No, okay.
The only reason you need a degree is if you decide you want to be a teacher and not work in the business.
And that's something. Because
if you want to stay in Ohio and not try to work in the business. But you know what's different now is like with the pandemic, we're still in work from home. Like, I mean, Davey, you're in your office right now, aren't you?
I'm in my home office, but I like go into the studio during the week. But
I still don't get to go to the studio. No, ever since 2020, I've been working in this little cube right here.
Well, I hope you get to go back soon. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. A lot of people don't want to.
I
want to, but
it's nice to have the option.
You know, it makes Animation Resources even more important because, like, if you're new and trying to get in, how are you going to meet anybody? I mean,
especially if you're working from home, yeah.
Right, or how are you going to learn from I hear people that are like my age or older that are working at home for 3 years, and they're like, wait a minute, like now I don't know if I'm doing it right. Now I'm not like feeding off of my peers and stuff, and so this. Yeah. Organization is fantastic because you can, share what inspires us with each other. And these reference packs are just a collection of incredible work that a lot of people aren't talking about, It's like everybody's looking at the same anime cartoon, and we got one of our guys, Jojo Baptista, just digs through and finds like some of the most amazing rare anime that no one remembers.
Yeah. So
it's got all the principles.
Yeah. The next element of Animation Resources that I'd like to talk about is 3 steps to greater creativity. This is something that Stephen has broken down really nicely. So he says that the key to creativity in animated filmmaking are 1, open your eyes to the world around you. 2, think about what you see, analyze how it works. And 3, expose yourself to a wide range of creative influences. So I'll start with the first one, with the primary source of inspiration for all artists is the observation of life. So too many animated films have character archetypes, the ones that you see over and over again, like a typical mom and dad characters, wimpy kids, goofy pets, bratty sister. But the best entertainers and actors will tell you that they don't create characters by looking at what other actors do or employing stereotypes. So that's like an example of animation based on other animation. They look at, like, great actors look at real people and try to capture their gestures, their walks, attitudes, expressions, figure out what makes that person a unique personality. And it works exactly the same way in animation. It's like when you're riding the bus or at Starbucks or in line at the DMV, you really want to pay attention to the people around you. Look for unique personalities and try to capture them in your sketchbook. Exaggerate, caricature them to see how you might put across that personality in animation.
It's so important to go out. As a cartoonist, it is so important to just be in the world and don't sit in front of your TV all the time. You are so right. You have to like go out with your sketchbook and make fun of people.
Yeah.
I go sometimes. My friends and I will go out to this place Zebulon over here in Frogtown, and we just bring the Post-it pad and just start drawing all the funny faces of people that we see. And then you know what? Sometimes those people's faces end up in cartoons that we're making.
They'll never know.
They'll never know.
That's right, yeah.
But you're right. It is really important to draw from not like just a model, but draw from real life.
Yeah. Yeah, because that's where new personalities and new ideas come from. So the next step, number 2, is analysis. And analysis is the core of what it means to think like an artist. as opposed to like what you mentioned earlier, thinking like a fan. So when the average person sits down to watch an animated film, they're swept away into the fantasy, and they let their film direct their imagination and entertain them. But a filmmaker thinks differently. Once your mind is trained to understand the process of filmmaking, you'll never be able to sit in the theater as an audience member again, which is, in that way, that's kind of sad. But
it's
a trade-off, though.
And then people hate you.
People will hate you, so it's definitely
I'm like,
a trade-off. But
sometimes, like, you're watching something and you're like, you just can't help but see all the mistakes that are being made, and you're like, I can't enjoy this. You have to shut it off.
Yeah. This is when filmmakers look at a film, they're looking at the application of techniques, and like, how does it establish the characters and environment? How does it set up conflict? How is the pacing working, and the contrast, mood, sound, color, all that stuff. So if you turn your brain on, and the creativity will follow, is the idea.
Yeah.
And step number 3, expose yourself to a broad spectrum of artistic creativity, and not just the few things that you already know all about and like. So when you as a filmmaker are watching movies or shows or animation, you shouldn't just limit yourself to what you personally like. You want to focus on what you can learn from. So really, animation should just be a small portion of what you expose yourself to. In order to be creative in animation, you need to understand and appreciate all of the art forms, studying the history of all the art forms, filmmaking, music, painting, sculpture, dance, literature, all that. If you want to train yourself to think analytically about film, choose really good examples from the past to study. It's like classic movies are filled with cinematic techniques that animation still hasn't done. In the entire history of animation, there have been thousands of animals chasing each other, but how many gothic horror movies have there been animated? Or noir thrillers, westerns, war movies. There's a lot more still to be told. And another advantage of using older films as reference is that you're more likely to pull technique from them, because you can't really imitate the content. Is if you're looking at a World War II movie, the situations and dialogue are so specific to that time and place. So instead, it kind of forces you to look at the acting and the staging or cutting. So then you're not stealing, you're taking that technique and then adapting it to your own context. So another element of animation resources is the importance of self-study. So animation is very competitive, and the best way to stay employable is to be constantly learning and growing as an artist. It isn't enough to just lean on what you already know. Styles change, animation changes, the world changes, and it's important for you to, students especially, to change with it. At Animation Resources, our advisory board, they let us know what's in their self-study, and then we share it with you. And I don't know if that's an experience that you can find anywhere else. And finally, I'd like to talk about the library of your mind. A lot of young animators seem to think that all the reference they need is on Google, but that isn't true. You have to know exactly what it is that you don't know in order to grow. So recently, a book was published showing great artists in their studios, and their workspaces were all different, but the one thing they all had in common is they had bookshelves totally packed with reference. I'm doing okay on that front, but I can definitely be doing better. So if you want to be a great artist too, follow their lead and push your boundaries and expand your frame of reference by building your own library. It can be books or it can be a hard drive. I guess my hard drive is pretty good because it's got all the animation resources RefPacks. So the format doesn't matter. What matters is the impetus to know more than what you currently know. Do you have anything to add on about student membership, Pez?
I think that it's really competitive if you're graduating like today. I mean, how else are you even gonna like get ahead of the game if you're not involved in something in this or something like it, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, there's really nothing that's as specific as animation resources, because I feel like, I don't know, that you can do one of those animation adventures. I guess Steve doesn't like what I'm talking about. Sorry about that, sir. I feel like this is very specific because, you know, like some of those things online, they teach you how to do a specific thing, and you're like, oh, I learned how to storyboard this sequence here. But this organization teaches creativity. It's like okay, the first time I ever got the concept of what Steve was doing, I actually hadn't met him yet. I was in art school. It was my senior year at art school, and I had this illustration teacher. His name was C.F. Payne. He did the back cover of Reader's Digest. He may still do it. He did it forever. And the first assignment we had in his class is we had to make like a clip book. It was like a huge binder, and we went through all these magazines, and he was like, just put anything in there, and he was like, make lists of stuff you need. And we were just essentially like, why can't we just use Google? And it was like, no, you need to like look at all these different things, so that way you have a big library of stuff ready to go, and you can look at that stuff and be inspired by it. And so I that's what they used to do in the days before computer. And so now Steve has taken that idea of like the clip book that you look through, the reference book, and now we have these reference packs. It's way easier to deal with. I carry them around on my phone. I have them on my computer here, right there. And it's like anytime I'm just like stuck, I need an idea. I need to like think about a scene in a different way, or think about like character design or like a technique. I can just look at this stuff and I get inspired, and you find yourself not imitating the same stuff every time.
Right, because I think you'll have a natural inclination to, like, if you're just using Google, to search in the same kind of thing that you always search, or the algorithm will give it to you.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I think that's great.
You know, like, so two things. I work on some Looney Tunes stuff, and then I work on the SpongeBob thing. So right now, both of those sort of can feed each other, right? I can learn from one and then work on the other, but it doesn't always work like that. Sometimes, you know, I was working on Tuca and Birdie, which was like an adult animated show, and those are like human bodies with bird heads. And so, you know, that's basically human figure drawing, which is the complete opposite of drawing Looney Tunes characters, because it's like that's like shapes and lines of action and squash and stretch and stuff. And there was no squash and stretch in the other show.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I found myself looking at a lot of vintage illustration and the drawing courses and a lot of that stuff that Steve is and the board of the advisory boards put together for us.
All right, jumping right back into it. Now we're in our anime section. So this is episode 73 from the 1967 Japanese animated series Extraordinary Ataro. So, I always love watching the intro.
Oh. Smart. Oh, that was funny. I love JoJo's anime analyses. He always finds such really interesting, obscure anime.
All
that
these
make
character
really
designs are unique. But
it's just so crazy how different modern anime is to this.
It's crazy. I just don't know how many people who love modern anime have any idea about this stuff.
No. The closest idea they'd have is Astro Boy.
So there's a interesting story behind this show. The series started out as a family comedy. then a main character dies and is sent back to Earth by God as a ghost, and later it becomes an incredibly violent slapstick comedy. So this episode and the other one that we have in the Ref Pack are from later in the show's run, and so they have some really crazy violence and gunfire too.
Gotta love cartoon hyperviolence. A Rod Scribner style. I mean, obviously not. A Rod Scribner-esque take.
Let's see if we can... All these drawings are funny.
I love this checkerboard transition they do.
Checkerboard transition?
From scene transition, they're doing this like weird checkerboard fade.
Huh, I didn't notice that.
Nice stagger.
Oh.
Actually, that's not a stagger, that's a loop. Okay. Next
Whoa,
episode.
is there some violence there? Yeah. Gunfire. There. Oh, yeah. Cool. Just wanted to get to the violence.
Got it.
So this is episode 75. Again, just like more funny visual gags.
Great visual gags, funny violence, great takes.
Yep. Fun designs.
Mm-hmm. Good stuff.
Some more gunfire. Oh, look at that pose.
That was a great pose.
Oh, that's great.
Yes. All right. Next is...
All right, we got to keep going.
Yes, Das Zauberke. Zauberke.
Das
Probably.
Zauberke. 1941 Russian film. This translates to The Magic Seed. So this is a whole feature. Hour and a half long feature. This Ref Pack has everything. So there's actually a lot of similarities between this film and The Wizard of Oz. And like The Wizard of Oz, this film became an annual viewing tradition in Russia. So the film incorporates hand-drawn animation, stop motion, forced perspective sets, makeup and costumes, and special effects.
Excellent. Great
Got
cat.
a lot going on. We gotta just
zoom through a little bit.
I like that. The set.
That's amazing.
Really nice set. It does feel like the Wizard of Oz.
Mm-hmm. But of course, distinctly culturally Russian.
Yeah. It was a really cool set. Great costumes.
Really nice use of the chain to create more dimensionality in the frame.
Yeah, it frames it really nicely.
Quite clever. Same with these bars, these thorn bars, the way they're staggered. It's very good. An outrageous double ruff.
Cool. So that's a sneak peek of this feature. David, why don't you go over your breakdowns?
Sure. Okay, so we'll just watch all the breakdowns through, and then I'll talk about them briefly, and then we'll move on. Because we have an entire other RefPack to cover.
Yeah.
So we got to keep it a little short.
Yeah.
So the topic of this article is fluid simulation. We're going to watch these. I'm going to talk about some rules to do, some basic rules to follow when you want to make good fluid movement. And then let me just full screen.
Oh man. They're so good at water. Richard Williams.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so just some rules.
What was it called again?
Fluid simulation.
Okay.
So for fluid simulation, we'll start with this one. I chose that as the first one because it's the easy. It's very simple. When you want to have good fluid movement in animation, the first thing you want to think about is the wave principle, which I've covered in previous articles. It's basically really coined by Preston Blair. It demonstrates how to the rules in turning one S-curve into another S-curve. And so like one S-curve of one orientation into another S-curve of a different orientation. And by moving from different S-curves to different S-curves, you create waves. So it's like this. Because what you don't want to do is this, C-curve to C-curve, C-curve to C-curve. The second thing you want to have is some kind of internal lines because you want both the internal lines and the external lines to be following the wave principle or diverting it in some way. Your internal lines you usually want to have of some separate color, either a shade or a highlight. In this one, you have three distinct colors. You have this internal water, you have the edge light water, and then you have this high highlight here. Now we go to a more complicated shot. You have tons and tons of internal lines, all of them a lot more chaotic, not as quite following the wave principle, but the external lines here are following it much more tightly. Then you have some nice dry brush into some spotted brush to create that the reason water turns white is because as the water molecules bunch up together through when it's harassed, the the light gets trapped inside the water molecules bouncing around and around, so you see white. Whereas in blue, the water molecules are much farther apart, so blue scatters more easily and you're able to see more blue. So you have to think about, in terms of light physics, how the light is interacting with the water. But you also here they do some nice reflection. So in the Pinocchio one we'll see later, the water that they're thinking of is darker. It's ocean water. So there's not going to be a reflection. Here, it's like mop water from Mickey Mouse being lazy. So you can see a nice distorted reflection of the chair and of Mickey as he dives beneath. Notice how they become flat colors. And then back into this disruption of the water where you have this really nice dry brush, spotted brush. Onto Pinocchio, you see the water here is much darker, no chance of reflection. And when he disrupts the water, you have these really nice, jagged, shaking lines, completely disregarding the wave principle, and they're no longer waves, they're like projectile bullets. A similar effect we see here, except the lines are created with these like black effect lines, and the wave principle is monitored through these external lines and internal lines, although it's a lot more chaotic. Again, look at the different colors. You've got this nice reflective color here of opaque blue, this more whiter blue, and then a almost pure white.
I think it becomes jagged and abandons the wave principle because there's so much force.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Whereas here, a lot simpler, just two colors. This basic blue and then a lighter blue, more white. But a lot of internal lines, a ton of internal lines, and some stuff in the background here, some disruption. But you'll notice that even when there is disruption, there is no whiteness here. There's no condensed water creating that spotted foam brush we saw here. And then finally, I chose this one because I just think it's fun to think about fluids, not in case of fluids. So here, we're using fluid simulation to create a morph. So this is a solid object, it's a clock, but it's melting. And the artist here uses a lot of the principles minus all the coloring stuff we talked about, because blue and white and the light reflection is not going to matter. Instead, you follow more of the wave principle. You really dig deep into those S-curves, into that dripping kind of style. And obviously, there's some cascading here. Initially, I was worried this was interlacing, but I do not think so. I think this is an actual cascade effect. Okay.
So, yeah, thank you for that.
Yes. Excellent.
The last element of this RefPack is a new episode of our podcast series, Animated Discussions. This one is with Sandro Cluzo. So Sandro Cluzo has been an animator and character designer for nearly 40 years. He's animated on some of your favorite movies, including The Iron Giant, Tarzan, Anastasia, Fantasia 2000, The Emperor's New Groove, Curious George, Enchanted, Princess and the Frog, Klaus, Space Jam 2, Kung Fu Panda 4, and so many others. I listed a lot, but those are all very notable, so I didn't know what to leave out. He also worked as a visual development artist on the new Ultraman Rising on Netflix, and as a character designer on several episodes of the Disney series Pen Zero. He's currently working on a new game directed by the team that made Cuphead.
Excellent.
So you can listen to Sandro talk all about what inspires him, his animation, and his creative process in our latest episode of Animated Discussions.
What an amazing podcast. Definitely check it out.
Well, thank you. Yeah, it was a good one. He was great.
Now we have another RefPack.
Yeah, now we've got our bonus archive, which is a rerun of reference pack number 29. So first is an ebook, Toby Bluth's storyboard collection. So, Toby Bluth grew up a huge fan of Disney movies, particularly the original 5, being Snow White, Pinocchio, Fantasia, Dumbo, and Bambi. And this led to his lifelong career as an artist. And he designed and directed over 100 stage plays, illustrated children's books, and worked on animated projects. And he collected old Disney storyboards as reference and inspiration. So this here is his collection. He was most
Absolutely amazing.
inspired by the clarity and staging and lighting in these boards.
It shows an amazing understanding of lighting.
It's really cool that we have his collection. Oh my god, these boards, there's...
I wonder how much he spent over the course of his life on storyboards.
Yeah. Oh man.
Or perhaps they were not as valued as collector's material.
They've probably become more valuable in recent decades. Yeah, the staging and the lighting is really what stands out in these.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Okay. And then
Yeah,
next,
well-
a classic of animation.
There's 86 pages of this stuff.
Wow.
Next is let's take a look here. So this is an MGM cartoon directed by Rudy Eising. So this was the first non-Disney animated short to be awarded an Oscar, winning over the first Bugs Bunny cartoon and the first Tom and Jerry cartoon.
Wow.
It's
It's
just
amazing. It's
beautifully
one of the
done.
best. It's one of the greatest shorts ever made.
Solid drawings, brilliant color palettes and backgrounds.
The way all three characters move so differently.
Mm-hmm.
Nice dry brush motion frame.
Some effects animation.
Mm-hmm. Now the best part.
Oh yeah, this is the best part. This is beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
I love the colors.
This was the scene that I used for our best of 50, or some part of this. The milk.
Oh my god. Look at that. It's so pretty.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. There's really nothing else like this.
Nope. No wonder it won the Oscar. Wow. I should have used that for fluid simulation.
Cool. Well,
Yep.
great short.
And now another classic.
Yeah, this is this is The Hungry Wolf from 1942. So it's another MGM cartoon, and this one's directed by Hofmann. Some just really great animation in this one too. The clarity and directness of the poses. So fun fact, this cartoon had all the best animators at the studio working on it, including Bill Teitla.
Oh, wow. I love him. He's just the master of big thing, move big.
Of big...
Brave Little Tailor, Pinocchio.
Oh, I want to watch this eating. I like watching characters eat. It's always a challenge to figure out how to do it.
Very hard. Oh. Poor wolf.
Hello. This is great. Great effects.
Yes.
Harmon and Ising, they don't get enough credit.
Oh no, but they should.
They're not as famous as Disney and Chuck Jones, but they're just as good. Beautiful. Next we've got some stuff from Len Lai. This is Len Lai's Tusalava from 1929. So Len Lai's work explored motion through experimental film and kinetic sculpture. His animation is distilled down to one thing that makes animation totally unique, which is the element of time. There aren't any narrative or figurative elements, it's just entirely focused on rhythm and the visual representation of music. It kind of reminds me of Oscar Fischinger.
I agree.
So yeah, you need to hear the music to really fully appreciate this. Which I can hear right now, but I know you guys can't hear it. But yeah, if you watch this with the music, it works perfectly. It's just an abstract visual representation of sound. So yeah, we've got 4 of these. This one is Kaleidoscoper from 1935. So he painted directly on blank rolls of film with colored dyes and created layers of movement in an optical printer.
Ah.
And the planning required to achieve the synthesis of sound and motion, it's just
timing with music is always
the most elaborate exposure sheets ever.
It's always a pain.
I can't imagine. I mean, doing this now, I would just go straight ahead but you had to plan everything out back then.
Yep.
To
it
achieve
has
this,
to be
element of
exact. It has to
spontaneity.
be mathematically exact.
I know you guys can't hear this, but it's just like the bongo drums on.
No, it's
so
perfectly on
satisfying.
beat when you watch it. It's quite extraordinary.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a very fast and upbeat song. Yeah. Next one is Rainbow Dance from 1936. Rainbow Dance. Len Lai. Here we go. So, like, animators usually slug their exposure sheets according to the length of the dialogue and how long it takes to perform an action, without really giving any thought to pacing or rhythm. But Lai is operating on a much more abstract level. He represents complex, syncopated Latin and jazz rhythms visually with abstract shapes that move. I mean, there's little pieces of representation here, but it's mostly abstract. Yeah. This is the Labyrinth Walk from 1939. So in the past, animation was planned out to a musical beat by analyzing voices and the music and breaking down the rhythms frame by frame. And traditional animators were blown away by what these little films were able to accomplish. Stephen Orth saw firsthand the classic, like, Golden Age animators' reaction to these. Yeah, I know this looks like nothing, so you just gotta watch this with the music.
Yeah, it's just necessary. And the last one, musical poster. That is the one
musical poster number 1. This is your favorite?
I used it. No, this is the one I used for Best of 50, because I had to choose one.
So it probably was your favorite then.
Yeah, it was my favorite. Yeah, it's definitely still my favorite. It's extraordinary.
It's crazy how well this works for the music.
Gotta have the music playing.
This is exactly what this music looks like.
Yep.
And it just switched to the drums there, and the color changed. Oh, yeah. So cool. So that's our current reference pack and bonus reference pack. So sign up now and you can download all of reference pack number 60 and the bonus reference pack number 29. You have until the first week of December. And also, you have until the 1st of November to download the best of the first 50 reference packs. That's 2 videos and 2 ebooks for free. Don't miss this special offer in honor of Student Membership Drive. And students, now is the best time to become a member. Students will save $25 per year on a membership, $70 per year instead of $95. So thank you for joining me, David. Thanks again for making this run smoothly.
Thank you again for having me.
And thank you to everyone who's watching. And a huge special thank you to all of our members. Without you, none of this would be possible. And don't forget, if you're not already, I highly recommend becoming a member of Animation Resources. With the bi-monthly reference packs curated by our board, the bonus archive, and the podcasts, you will have a great start at building a personal library of reference material that will serve you for your entire artistic career. And it's a huge bargain. It's only $70 per year if you're a student, and $95 per year for the general membership. You can sign up right now at animationresources.org/membership. One more time, that's animationresources.org/membership.